Here you can see my bobbin of 42 gauge enamelled wire, the wire holder and the easy to wind bobbins that I've created. This close-up shows the bobbins in more detail. They are of course 3D printed, and they're actually made in two halves and super glued together. There's a hole for the lead wire and there's a notch for the end wire. They've been created to be easily printed, easily assembled and easily wound. The bobbin winder is a simplicity sidewinder. It's battery operated. The only modification I've made is on the switch to facilitate the fact that my bobbins are a different size to sewing machine bobbins. It's extremely low cost, purchased from eBay. You can pick them up for around about £15. So what you do is you take the thread and it goes through an eyelet, wraps around the tensioning knob, you feed it through the hole in the bobbin, which is not very easy to do. I made the hole as wide as I could because my eyesight's not very good these days. And then you simply push it down on the motor. You give it a few turns to make sure that when you start it going it doesn't strip off, and then you simply connect the switch, trim the lead wire because you don't want it wrapping around the actual bobbin, push the button and away you go. Using my index finger, I simply press down on the wire to give it a nice, even winding. Now I know it's boring and there's not a lot to see, and I was going to speed this up, but I figured what I'd do it in one continuous shot so that you can actually see it from start to finish. This is so much easier than winding with a drill. It really is. There's no back pain, no shoulder pain. I've not got to keep a hold of the button. It's really, really good. I actually look forward to making these motors now, you know. So at this point the machine switched off, and that would give me a 1000 ohm coil, perfect for the easy spin. But in this case I want to run the machine a little bit longer to get around 1500 ohms on the coil. So basically what I've done is I've simply pressed the button to start it going again, and I'm going to keep it winding a little bit more. This is a guesstimate. Anything over 1000 ohms is good. I'm shooting for 1500, but I might even get 1200. If I was clever and not quite so lazy, what I would do is make a kind of a sheath instead of the masking tape. So I could, if I wanted a 1500 ohm coil, I'd put one sheath on the switch. If I wanted a 1000 ohm coil, I'd put a different sheath on the switch. But you know what? I'm too cheap and I'm too lazy, so I'll guess it. Of course you don't want to overwind the coil. I've done that before and you end up with a right mess. Job done. And here's a close-up through the power of editing. Then you simply cut the end wire to length with a pair of scissors. I use the scissors to help me prise it off the motor because it can be a little bit tight. And there you have it, one beautifully wound coil. And using your wife's clear nail varnish, you can secure the windings on the bobbin. It protects them and makes it much easier to work with. And there's the finished coil in all its glory. In this section of the video, we're going to tin the tail ends. First I tin the iron, and then using a good quality flux, I put some on my finger and I coat the wires of the bobbin. And then using a stroking motion, I run the iron along the wire, and this burns off the enamel and coats the copper coil, or the copper wire rather, with solder. Now there are lots of different coatings on these magnet wires. Some of them are solderable, some of them aren't. This one is enamel, which means it has to be pretty much burned or scraped away, and at 42 American gauge it's very easy to actually destroy the wire. So which is why what I do is I don't leave the contact too long, and I actually pull the wire through the iron, which seems to do a very good job. You probably can't see it, but the ends are actually now fully tinned. So with the bobbin complete, we're now going to do a resistance test on the coil to see what resistance it is. Remember, higher being better. Now as you can see, it's about 1500 ohms. That's very, very good. That's what I was shooting for. Didn't quite get it dead on 1500, but I'm happy with that. So all I've got to do now is make another 11 just like that, and I'll be building my next motor.